Now for the L. So here's the first stroke. The second one, I'm starting on the baseline and I'm pulling stroke down, attaching it at the top and down. Then you can always add embellishments to these. You could do double. Now we'll do the M. I'm going to do a swash first. Come around. And then put a foot on there. And then go up, over, and down. Swing to the left a little bit. Repeat that. The same thing for the third one. And then add the crossbar in the middle. So this time we didn't swing out as far to make that foot on the M. What we did was you want to pay attention to this negative space inside here so that they try to stay the same. The stroke where it attaches is using the corner of the nib, pulling it straight out, the top like that, and then coming down, going to the left, and then repeating that. So we'll do another M, which is below the cap line, come straight down to the left, and then at the base line, I'm going to put that stroke down. So top of the M, straight out, straight down, add a foot. So on this one, we have this first stroke, first stem stroke come down, out. We're putting the foot on this. On the top of that, that stroke is setting your pen down at the top, sliding it to the left, sliding down. You're going across the form. And then this last stroke, it's the same as the end stroke of the first example. And that stroke is setting the corner of the nib down, pulling it out like that, coming back into it, and going straight down that direction. So that's the M. And now the N, we have a swash entry stroke. I'm going to pull the pen all the way around. I pull it around, I can use the swash as a guide to see how far I'm going to pull the pen. Use the corner of the nib, come up. And this is the same technique as this right here. And I think we've done all of this before already. There's another N. So we're going to have an entry stroke that pulls into the stem, straight down, curve to the left. And this time we're going to put a flat serif foot on. Go to the top. So the only thing different is the way that this first foot is put on there. And that is, as you come down for that first stroke, stem stroke, you're pulling to the left. And you see it's above the baseline so that when you set your pen down, you're pulling it to the right and you're lifting up. And I think everything else is the same that we've already talked about. Okay, now for the O. So that's the O. We have the first stroke, it's a rounded stroke. The second one, set your nib back down, pull it down and around. And the third one we're going to attach for the other side of the round stroke into that stem, that center stem. You're going to set it down, come up, and then pull it around. Then you can add a decorative element as well. P. Swash. Pull it all the way around. I'm above the baseline. Pull it down. And I'm going to do that cathedral left part of that. Come back around to the right side, and then I'm going to use the corner of the nib to finish that stroke. So the thing that's different about it is this attachment here, where you have this stroke coming around, and then this attaches here. You can either go from this way up or this way down, and then go back into it and pull the stroke around, and then use the corner of the nib to come all the way around to form that P, the lobe of that P. And then another P is we have a swash entry, swing around, and then go straight down, pull out, straight down, like that. So the thing I want to point out here is this part right here is a really thin line. And so as this stroke comes down, using the corner of the nib, pulling up like that. And then the lobe of this has a little curve to it instead of a straight line, like that. And then this is right here, and then I'm just going to swing this over like that to meet that point. This is like this. So there's the P. Now for the Q. Swing this around, just like you're doing the O. Set your nib into that stem, come all the way around, and you can set your pen right into that part of the O and do a swash. And you can add an embellishment as well. So that stroke is 1, 2, just like the O, back around, then set your nib into here, and it's this swash. Using the corner nib for the right side of it, corner nib on the left side of it. So that's one Q. And another Q. Is to set your nib at the base, just bring it out like a straight diagonal, like that. Now for the R. Sort of like this, straight down, put the foot on it, come out, straight in, down. So I think we've done everything here except for maybe this part right here. So here's the stem. This swings to the left. I'm using the corner of the nib to pull up. To make that lobe, it's angular. And set the nib down and pull out. Another R. We'll make the swash first. Come up like that shape of the lobe, and then straight out. So you can see that this is that same shape that's on the P. There's another R. A swash stroke. Around. Foot, up, top lobe, straight out, like that. Now for the S. I'm going to start off with the first stroke, diagonal, diagonal, down, curve to the left, don't touch the baseline, come up, put that stroke to meet that, and up. So what you notice on here is this stroke ended before you hit the baseline. This stroke, these are two diamonds right here in the center, and the initial stroke started under the cap line. And the center of that stroke, we have this. We have these two here. That's also the entry stroke for the stroke that comes down the right side of that S, curves to the left. Then another S, you have the first curve, slide up, and the second curve, and come into it the same way, across the top. Now what you want to notice here is this curve, as it starts, it's centered, so that you have a nice curve at the bottom. And start this high up, bring it down to match. And right here we have this curve here, and we're sliding the pen up to make the second one. So we're sliding the pen up this way and then curving it around. Now we're going to do the capital T. I'm going to do the rounded T here. Have that. Put this on, use the corner of the nib, lilt up, come on over, top, and you can either leave it like that or you can put this on at the end. Then you can add a diamond as well. So the top part of that lilt, it's like that. And you can put this swash on at the end of the stroke. So for the U, I'm going to start off with a swash. I'm always below the cap line so that when I attach the pen, it just goes slightly over. The bottom part of that U comes back down. Have the top part of that U, keep that short and end it like that, or the foot. So for the V, they swash, and come around, and come up like that. Do the same thing that I did for the U. Then I'm going to bring it around, but I'm not going to attach the right part of the foot like I did for the U. Then there's an alternate V. Swing this around, come down. This time I'm going to use the corner of the nib, come up, and put like a little wave here. So do that again. Use the corner of the nib, pull it up, like that. So now we'll do the W. Swash stroke, come in, up, straight down, curve to the right, and then put the crossbar on. So the only thing different about this that we haven't done, maybe, is I come up, and you notice that I'm high up above the baseline. And I'm going to come into the stroke and pull it up like that. Use the corner of the nib so that it's a really clean stroke. And then this is the same where this is going to keep that short. And then bring this down to meet it. and then pull it to the right. Use the corner of the nib as well. And then everything else is the same that we've done. We have 3 more letters to do, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to do the X. Stroke 1 with the swash, come up and around, straight down, pull to the right, put my nib up at the top, go into the center stem, pull out, then finish the X like that. So we have this stroke as this comes around and down. This goes into the stem on the corner of the nib, comes up, puts that top on. Then you have this stroke here, stem stroke. You come down and pull that out. Flatten the pen angle to make the crossbar. So now there's another X. I'm going to start it like this, come straight out, come down, do the same thing on the right. I'm going to come up, the same thing, put the nib in, pull the stroke out, put on the crossbar. And now for the Y. Entry swash stroke. Bring that around. Come down, up, over, come out, and swash like that. So on the Y, the only thing that's possibly different is that this part here, when this comes up and this comes down, it swings out a little bit, swings out. And then when you put the swash down to meet it, so it's just not a straight line. Now the Z. I'm going to go on the corner of the nib, pull up, go straight, make a straight line, go straight out, come around, put a swash to meet it like that. And then there's an alternate Z. This time I'm going to start at the top and come in and go up, do a line, come straight out, bring this down and around, and have it meet like that. So this stroke here, it comes straight out and down. And this stroke right here, the last part of it, you start up here and you go in this direction. So we have, this comes out and around, and this part of the Z, the last part, comes in this direction to meet it right here at this join. Okay, that's it. A to Z, 26 letters, capitals, and these have a little more of a gentle feel because there's curves on it, and it has some rounder forms and some fancier ones, and you can always add diamonds and embellishments and spurs to them to make it a more exciting letter. It's a good basic form to use as your base. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed learning Gothic black letter calligraphy. Thanks. Bye.